Now to our next leg of discussion, and it's about the persisting fuel queues across the country. This despite an ultimatum from the DSS to stakeholders in the oil sector to end the scourge. And days after the expiration of that ultimatum issued by the Department of State Services to stakeholders in the oil sector to end the scarcity of petrol across the country, long queues still persist. The DSS, at a meeting with the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, as well as the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria and other stakeholders in the industry, on Thursday last week issued a 48-hour ultimatum to end the fuel scarcity in order to avert incitement or security breach in the country. But the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria says such ultimatum from the secret police will not achieve much unless it arrests the cartel operating among private depot owners who they say are hoarding the essential commodity in states like Kano and Kaduna State, where fuel now sells for more than 300 naira per liter, with queues stretching for miles. Joining us now is the National President of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, CHINEDU OKORONKWO. He joins us from our Abuja studio, and we have here with us in our Lagos studio oil and gas consultant BALA ZAKKA. Gentlemen, you are both welcome to the program this morning. I would like to begin with Mr. ZAKKA here with us in the studio. So the DSS gave a directive. It won't be the first that they would intervene in the fuel scarcity situation over the years, but the deadline, as we said, has since expired. Are you surprised that we are still having this issue of fuel scarcity across the country?
I'm not surprised at all, and I'm happy you said outside this directive from DSS, we've been having such discussions and experiences. Personally, before coming here, I just went through the interviews I had with you on this subject in the last probably 1 year. I noticed that I've had more than 20 interviews on the same subject. And we're still just creating motion and no movement. It is very, very unfortunate. But for me, I would just reduce it to just two principal reasons. You know, our insistence that we must keep importing refined petroleum products that we technically call distillates is one of the reasons. Then the second reason again is our insistence again that deregulation is the only way to run the downstream sector of the Nigerian oil and gas industry, knowing all the challenges that we have. These two reasons will continue to affect Nigeria. These two reasons will continue to make sure that because we don't have electricity, knowing that we're a population of like 200 million citizens, trying to rely on less than 10,000 megawatts of electricity. And we know that, I mean, we're talking about energy security here. Quote me, that Nigerian economy will grind to the cliff edge and collapse into the valley. I'm also happy that at a point when some of us kept saying that we need to think about energy security, when many people would just be saying petrol, 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 but they don't know that we're talking about energy security here. As long as we continue this way, quote me, because last year when we were talking about this, some of us predicted that or projected that if we don't recalibrate our strategies, a liter of petrol will get to 250 Nigerian naira. And it is that today. As I speak to you today, a 50 jerry can of diesel is more than the minimum wage of a Nigerian, which is 30,000 Nigerian naira. That's the extent to which we've been reduced to a melancholy nation. And I would continue to ask basic questions, starting with the first question. If refining were to be a bad business, if refining were not to be profitable, are we saying those countries that have been refining and we go there to import, are we saying their leaders are fools or what? And if they are not, who is the fool here? And I heard some people now saying, we need to graduate. We need to go to cleaner fossil fuel. We need to go to auto gas. Between you and I, we couldn't manage coal when we had coal. We still have bitumen. We couldn't manage it. We couldn't manage basic distillates, petrol, diesel, and kerosene. Anybody who tells you that if we cross over from internal combustion engines, you know, to auto gas, which is highly flammable, Nigeria will survive. Between you and I, that person is lying to you. And if we continue like this, quote me that I said, because I'm beamed to the whole world right now, that I said, around this time next year, a liter of petrol may be higher than 600 Nigerian naira. Knowing also that Nigeria is a third world country, Nigeria's disposable income is suffering from, or has been eroded by inflation, knowing also that we have so much endowment of this crude oil and gas. Look at Qatar. Qatar, as late as Qatar is only relying on just gas. Yes. Meanwhile, Nigeria is more of a gas nation than an oil nation. From the same natural gas, you can drive gas turbines and generate electricity. If you have electricity, quote me, that there will be glut at the filling stations. Many people, and this thinking that is only for transport is a lie. As we speak, no electricity. People are using petrol generators today to generate energy because we cannot afford diesel. So this refusal, insistence that deregulation is going to be the way between you, it will collapse this country.
All right. Let's get to our guests in Abuja, talking about CHINEDU OKORONKWO. You are a major player in the system. Talk to us, paint us the picture of what the real issues are, why we keep finding ourselves at this point where we'll have long queues, no fuel, and the DSS has to always come to intervene, so to speak.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity of coming to your television house. My take on this is that solution is what we're looking at for right now. I believe that the meeting we had with DSS have also helped the system to really know what to do. I want to tell you that NNPC, they have products. The day we met in the DSS office, 1.9 billion liters of petroleum product. And we also discovered that distribution was a problem. But I can tell you for free that yesterday meeting with the NNPC, at least we were meant to see that over 300 trucks of my members, you know, who have been buying from these farm owners, who of course will put their costs and everything. But now we are getting directly from an NPC where we can now take our product for 148 naira 19 kobo. By the time this is adhered to strictly, because for now we are still enjoying that subsidy, this, even in Abuja as I speak now, you can confirm that the fuel is available, because I heard you people say the 48-hour this thing. It's a gradual thing. But that of Abuja have yielded enough, dividend, and I believe other cities will begin to fall in place. By the first quarter of next year, by God's grace, Port Harcourt depot, refinery will start working. By either the first quarter, Dangote will also be working. So the issue of the refinery or whatever, it has happened. But what we are now seeing is a remedy wherein the NNPC, they are working to see how they will bring that thing up. And they have assured us in a meeting, stakeholders meeting, our first quarter, that is from January at least before March. Remember, election is just within 3 months. We must manage this process so that energy will not be the focus of not having credible election. I think that is what the government is doing right now. And if this issue of distribution, we have 80% of the downstream sector, filling station, unit station, to put this product, not moving into one direction. And that has been resolved by our meeting with DSS and other stakeholders. Now, yesterday, NMPC have started releasing this product, the backlog. And we are also told that immediately after the backlog, then new programs will also begin to happen. That is the meeting we had yesterday. For me, I think there is still hope. We still have hope in this country. I believe that by the time we have credible election and all these refineries up and running, even.
All right. So are you saying the intervention and the conversation you had yesterday that this is just a stopgap measure at the end of the day? Because we keep finding ourselves at this point.
No, let me tell you, the availability have been confirmed, 1.9 billion liters. And the missing gap there was distribution. Now, NNPC have taken it upon themselves not to allow. We are marketers. We have a bulk purchase agreement with the NNPC. And they have also given us hope, even yesterday, by telling us, look, we have done about 350 trailers of those of your members that have been stopped. And we believe by the time we clear close to about 2,000 trailers, there will be a lot of product, and it will continue in that manner.
So where does this leave private depot owners?
Private depot owner, you have your station, you take it to your station. You go and pick your product, you take it to your station. You know, we are not against their business. Many of them have a filling station. And what they have can also go to their filling station. But if they want to give to us, because this thing is in a template, we can buy from them but at 148 naira 19 kobo. That is the business. You know, this thing have chain. The chain where the private depot owners, they are just like warehouse, the warehousing product for NMPC. Remember, this NMPC are the one that brings in this product. You know, so the issue of how to do business in Naira without dollarization, if that one is also done at government level, these private tank farm owners will be in business. And they have also put in that as part of the issue disturbing them. How can you be doing a business in a country and you are going to a black market to, you know, get dollar and pay maybe this NIMESA, MPA, and other charges? Even the ship that operate here, the cabotage law, they operate with our flag. Everything should be done in Naira. But they'll be telling you this business is only in dollar. Why? We are reducing the strength of our Naira.
All
and
right.
The pressure is of the issue that is, you know, challenging the system. But I think government, in that meeting, we agreed that they will escalate the meeting to other areas so that there will be ease of doing business.
All right. Let me put you on hold, Mr. OKORONKWO, and you know, compare your assessment of the situation with that of our consultant here with us, BALA ZAKKA. So the national president has spoken, and he says a fallout of the meeting on Monday says 1.9 billion liters are available, but that's on the one hand. There are still queues at horrendous, you know, dimensions across the country. We may be having it good here in Lagos, but Kano State, for example, 350 naira per liter, and that is just one of the various states where they are also having similar problems.
You know, I'm very happy you are asking this straight and sharp question, and I was very happy with the question you asked. You said, oh, the statement, you said, this is a recurring decimal. We've been talking about these things for ages. If you look at it, everybody is just still trying to explain why we should manage importation rather than why we must stop importation. How can somebody be talking and be tying our energy security, the abundance, the sufficiency of distillates to election in 2023? Is that not shameless? You see, everybody keeps talking about we need to get this right. All I will say is this, like in those days when we were young, you see, everybody is saying no Jupiter will stop Nigerians from having a credible election come 2023. Why can't we also be saying no Jupiter should stop Nigerians from having functional refineries? I heard him, okay, the president saying we have so billion liters of PMS and whatever. Is it not shameful? All those liters you are talking about, 1 liter is not a product of distillation or refining in your own country. And you are tying it to the... And that was why I said, only between last year and now, I had interviews with you guys on this subject more than 20 times. And virtually everybody, I'm just talking about the clips I extracted. So when you look at it, this thing that has been ingrained in the minds of Nigerians, that importation is the only way out, must be chiseled. And let me tell you, till this moment, as far as I'm concerned, deregulation will kill our economy. Because what does deregulation mean? And this is something many people don't understand. Deregulation means you cannot dictate the prices I will sell this product at, regardless of whether it came through IPMAN, MOMAN, and whatever. In deregulation, I can sell a liter of petrol at 500 naira. You have no right to stop
so
me.
That's healthy competition.
It's a satanic thing. Because when you say, you still remember the minimum wage in your country.
Right.
30,000 Nigerian naira. And you said, okay, when you deregulate, there will be healthy competition. Let me explain something. They've deregulated the price of kerosene already. The price of aviation fuel has been deregulated. The price of diesel has been deregulated. Let them show, it's only PMS that is even remaining. Let them show one basic benefit that Nigerians have
gained from deregulation.
If you look at it, even this your studio, at the rate you are burning diesel, banks are burning diesel, factories are burning diesel, you will not break even. Look at the aviation sector. Okay, you said if you deregulate, there will be competition, we will have competitive prices. Go to the aviation sector. What you are seeing is mass delay, risk, safety issues, and mass sack. So what people like me are saying is this, we have actually run out of lies, or let me say excuses to be mild. At a point, we tied things to coronavirus. Before you know, we tied them to smuggling. Right? We said construction around Apapa, banditry. The truth is this, we are on the wrong trajectory. And people don't really want to see these distillates or fuel as energy source.
Let's get Mr. Okoronkwo's perspective to this matter of deregulation, if they share the same view, because I've seen statements even coming from IPMAN saying deregulation is the way to go.
It's deception. Let him answer and I will respond.
Mr. Okoronkwo, are you there?
Let me tell you, my brother, deregulation will promote healthy competition. If everything is maybe lies, can you look at the telecommunication industry? Prior to this time, what was it like? You see a situation where you depend solely on night ads. Some people will queue up to get their line. It wasn't working. But with the advent of allowing players into the system, initially it was tough for you to get line, but now they're even dashing people line. Let me tell you what it will bring. When government will fully deregulate the system, a lot of people that have money overseas everywhere will come into this country. There will be unleashing of wealth in refinery, in other areas, vertical integration of that industry will open up. We cannot situate ourselves and try to, put ourselves, protect what? Like you have said about kerosene, yes, because refineries are not working. By the time you start working, and other new refineries, private refineries, all this modern refinery, fully, everything will begin to settle on its own. I've told you in my opening remark about doing business in this country where, in the same country, you're looking for dollar. Those are some of the problems we must let you people know as operators in this system. Whether or not you think maybe refineries are bad and they are getting attention, when you fix them and run it line by line, private participation into those refineries like they have done now, where people have come in to see how they will partner with the NFDC and government, you will see it will work. And I want to believe that we are passing a phase. In life, there are phases.
For how long will we be on this phase?
Exactly.
And this phase now is a phase.
For how long?
It is beginning to fix their refinery, bringing other people to run it with them. I mean, I don't speak for them, but I know, I have seen that it will work. It has worked in other places. Thank you.
All right, Mr. OKORONKWO, let me quickly ask, because along this, or amidst this DSS intervention, was a demand by a sector saying, by stakeholders saying that DSS should also, beam its searchlight on this racketeering that there is, among the oil depot owners, there is a cartel that must be curbed. Amidst this problem we're having, there's also, the big hydra-headed issue of corruption, people who are gaining at the expense of masses. That's why we're having, or that may be why we're having, this recurring problem. What's your take?
Well, let me tell you, all hands must be on deck, giving you people what we are doing a wonderful job by alerting the public, by letting people know. NFDC have come out plainly, and we have seen empirically that this product is there. And the problem was what? Distribution. Now they have decided to manage it themselves. Yesterday I told you we don't have a meeting with them. All right? I am of the opinion that every product, no matter, should be, taken to the place where it is meant for. There shouldn't be any, sacred cow. Take it to that station. By the time every station is wet, you have been seeing that when you get into a filling station, even some of my members will clean your windscreen and they've been washing for free. And that is why when we now dictated that, look, this bottleneck of passing through third party is a problem. We are not against anybody doing business. We have our bulk purchase agreement with government that, hey, your filling station, you will buy from us. We are still there, and that is what we have achieved. And I can tell you now that with that achievement, this product will be everywhere, and at a price government have, fixed for it. There is hope. We are happy with DSS. Just for them to know that my members are not part of this problem. Because we can get product at 200 and something naira and will not begin to sell at 170. For us, in IPMAN, we felt some of these things are blackmailing our members for them to get out of business. They will say to you at 200 and something. Maybe in their own station, they will be selling at a price that even when you are in the same line with them, you cannot even sell. But you have gotten it from them at that big price. So some of our members who, of course, will not close their shop, that is why you still see them. But many people have, for them not to have these issues, have closed their shop. But there is now hope being rekindled by NFDC. Yesterday, over 350 trucks at that price and they are, you know, they open up and they have seen it. It's normal. When you think somebody will help you, and if it doesn't help you, you can do it yourself. And they have started to do it yourself. I believe this product, Abuja here now, just you can see, at least it will not take you more than 5 minutes to take your fuel. It's an achievement. At least that meeting of DSS is yielding fruit, and it needs to be, you know, further reinvigorated anyway.
So, Mr. Okoronkwo spoke, I asked earlier about, you know, this cartel within the system, which might just be a solution if the DSS gets to crack down on them. And he's responded on that. An addendum to that question would be, now that NNPC has been privatized, why can't it take control of its own depot? Of course, this ahead of, you know, when we get to have our refineries, you know, up and running, so we don't have to bring in imported, you know, commodities. Why does NNPC have to still rely on private depot owners to store petrol, you know, imported from the country? As in, that has also been a room for corruption or compromise. And or how do you see that?
And in addition to that, I know you wanted to react to the matter of deregulation earlier that he mentioned, so you can just perhaps
see let me tell you, and that's where I feel pained. Honestly, that's where I feel pain, because I classify people who come as discussants on oil and gas, whether you're talking about the downstream, midstream, or upstream. Yeah. You see, I find out that some people, honestly, with due respect, do not understand how dangerous some of these economic restructuring concepts are. You see, when you talk about economic restructuring mechanisms, we have what we call deregulation. We have what we call liberalization. We have privatization, you get, and we have commercialization. What, with due respect, what Chief OKORONKWO was talking about to the telecom sector was not privatization. And that's why I said, you just get into something, you buy a concept, a terminology. When the thing starts dawning on you, everybody becomes prostrate. What happened to the telecom sector was not privatization, was liberalization. In liberalization, you allow the government entity to remain. You understand? Then you allow other players to come in. So if the government entity or corporation dies, it will die a natural death and nobody will complain. And that was what happened to Nitel. Have you seen people in Nitel complaining? But it was because you liberalized. But a lot of people confuse these things. In deregulation, you have no right to control my prices. What you only check will be quality of the product. In other words, if deregulation comes into full force, I have every right to sell a liter of petrol at 2,000 naira. You can't stop it.
It's the consumers that's determined if I want to patronize
but that is what I want you to understand, is that is what deregulation is all about. And in the context of Nigeria, if you look at it, everybody is still talking about imports, how to manage what we will import. The question is, I keep asking, the countries that refine, are they fools? Recently, I had a discussion with one of the reps of international creditors to Nigeria. Do you know what that person said? And that was, my discussion with him killed the entire discourse. He said, well, even if Nigerians decide to refine internally, the maximum they can save per liter will be like 10 naira. Do you know how I picked the man up? I said, oh, so there will even be savings if we refine internally. Then he said, yes, or maybe 10 naira. Then I said, okay, no problem. They said we are importing about 70 million liters per day. Assuming we are saving 10 naira per liter, right? If we refine internally, that means every day we will be saving 10 naira multiplied by 70 million. That is 700 million Nigerian naira every day. That's a good multiply that by the savings in a week. Sir, with due respect to you, multiply that by the savings in a month and in a year. That shut the whole discussion down. But between you and I, it's very clear. If we refine internally, we will save more than 100 naira. And if you look at the technicalities from the discussion of Chief OKORONKWO, you can see that even after all the add-ons, you know, by the time you import, and it gets to Nigeria at a relatively cheaper value than what we are talking. And that technically means if you refine internally, the value will be so low. Before we deregulated diesel, the price was 80 Nigerian naira per liter. We deregulated diesel, it is now 800 Nigerian naira. The only result we've seen is that strategic industrial sectors, strategic commercial, and strategic domestic sectors have all collapsed. Yeah. Minimum wage, I mean, many of these sectors I'm talking about, they can't break even again. And because they can't break even, they are laying off staff. So who is that person that is saying when there is competition? In the case of distillates, I'm talking about the downstream now. All I can tell you also, some sectors can be deregulated, they will do well. Some can be privatized, they will do well. Some will be commercialized, some will be liberalized. That's what I'm saying. But in the context of the downstream sector of the Nigerian oil and gas industry, there is hell. And let me tell you something that probably people like Mr. OKORONKWO will not know. Because probably they are looking at it from just the prism of just the downstream. Even in the upstream is where you have the drilling rigs, you carry out exploration and everything. Quote me that I said, in Nigeria today, because of energy costs, diesel costs, and other things like insecurity, in the whole of Nigeria, we have less than 12 active drilling rigs. And if you have that, but let me just conclude that, even if you go there, all the drilling rigs, the barges, and vessels are using diesel.
All right.
So they are suffering from energy costs too.
So NNPC, got privatized a few months ago, and so we are having this episode of fuel scarcity. At the current level that we are in, even though of course there is a place that everyone wants Nigeria to be in terms of curbing this importation, at the moment NNPC cannot handle the imported commodities, so it makes use of private depot owners, and all, and that doesn't seem to have helped the situation. While we have this problem on our hands, how do we better the system? Does NNPC take it back from the depot owners, or is there a way we regulate the system and make sure that nobody is having it better than the others?
See, everything about life and survival has to do with relationships. So in other words, NNPC will have relationship with depot owners. NNPC will have relationship with carpenters, with plumbers, and because NNPC, when you talk about, you're just talking about human beings, really. You need plumbers, you need caterers, you need depot owners, you need refiners. So it's a relationship, and that's why people like us said, you are talking about something that will create an aggregate mobility and movement of activities in the entire country. When you go to Saudi Arabia, that's not the way Saudi Arabia is being run. Right. When you go to Brazil, that's not how Petrobras is being run. When you go to Malaysia, that's not how Petronas is being run. Go to Libya, go to Qatar and the rest. In the context of Nigeria, what we are saying is this. You cannot be producing beans, right? Then you continue to go outside to buy akara. It doesn't make sense. And you are even buying from somebody who doesn't produce beans at all. Right. It's hurting the economy. And it is when you import that you require foreign and hard currency that puts so much pressures. But if you refine internally, the first thing you do is you halt. And people have been saying, let's bite the bullet. We have been trying. They will always say, let's manage. We've been managing in the past 12 years.
That was why I asked, how long are we going to wait?
That was why I was happy with your question.
Because of, we need to manage the time left for this conversation. Let's get Mr. OKORONKWO's final take on this matter. Now that we have the product, you say about 300 trucks have come out now. What do we hope to see in the coming days? There will be fuel. With that also perhaps crash the prices that we are witnessing, because there's been increase in price. Some places are selling at 300 naira per liter.
Let me just tell you for clarity, I am not against refining this product here. But I've told you, it's talking about government involvement. Yes, NNPC is still 100% owned by Nigerians. Over 200 million Nigerians are the ownership of this NNPC. Remember, the PIA bill, the only thing is part of it, like in this product something is still suspended because of this election. That is what I want you to understand. Nobody. You are talking about how Brazil, all this, Saudi Arabia, because they have company. Even in this era of confusion, Saudi Arabia made over $90 billion. If NNPC have seen how other countries are running and they now want to, Nigerian government, let us put this company that will checkmate the excesses of other operators. I think it's a way to appreciate them and appreciate government. Yes, it's biting everybody. But what is the solution? The solution for what we have now is that this product is there. And we have also discovered that the distribution was centered only in Lagos. You see now, Calabar, Port Harcourt, Ogarawari will be having product. If, you know the gridlock in Lagos, it will reduce it. And let me tell you, I said yesterday we had a meeting, and in that meeting we discovered that 350 trailers of my members, at that rate we are talking, by the time, if we push maybe every day 300 before 4-5 days, everybody will have this product. I'm telling you, it has started happening in Abuja. It will also happen in everywhere.
Will it affect the prices?
What controls price is demand and supply. By the time every station is selling, you'll be forced to sell at a price that others are selling. When you hold it, of course, nobody will see it. Remember the chain where we belong. We have filling stations. And we have told the people, look, we are not the cause of this problem. And the NPC have also seen that we are not part of it. That is...
All right, Mr. Okoronkwo, we want
government.
Right, we've run out of time. And we apologize for the interruption, but once again, we've run out of time. We've been speaking with the National President of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Clement Okoronkwo. CHINEDU Okoronkwo, I beg your pardon. We say a big thank you to you for staying with us. Of course, Mr. ZAKKA, brief conclusion on
very brief. He is still talking about something we imported. That you want to distribute in another 1 or 2 months, we will run out of stock and we'll go back to the house of yesterday. What we are saying, and this thing he's talking about, we discussed it 12 years ago, we discussed it 7 years ago, and we're still discussing it now. And that PIA he was talking about, you cannot insist on being on the wrong track. We must just get it right. And there are so many benefits that are supposed to be derived here. And I keep asking, if refining were to be a bad business, why are we going to import from countries that refine? It's very simple. It's too elementary. And if we don't fix this thing and get it right, quote me again like I predicted last year.
We'll bring you back
Next year, I'm telling you, a liter would not be less than 500. And we're still talking about a minimum wage of 30,000 naira, and before you know, a sachet of pure water will get to like 50 or 100 Nigerian naira.
All right, BALA, ZAKKA, indeed, these are big concerns for us as a country. We hope we get it right. Thank you very much.
So.
Thank you very much, BALA, ZAKKA, for your contributions, and thank you for always.
Thank you.